Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Calling All Creatures. I'm your host, Lori, as probably a lot of you know that actually listen into the podcast. And tonight I am excited to be talking with Roman and Jennifer McConn. And they...
Hello.
Huh? Did you say close?
Sorry, I was just saying hello.
Oh, hello. I thought I maybe had gotten your name wrong and you said close. Hey, it happens sometimes. I try to get it, if I haven't asked it beforehand, I try to get it as close as possible. Anyway, I'm sorry. Jen was saying hello. So Jen and Roman, Jen is Roman's mom, and Roman kind of started Project Freedom Ride, which is some transporting animals between Georgia and Texas and stuff. When he was like 4 years old, which is phenomenal, I think, because for someone to have that kind of passion at 4 years old, which I obviously know his family had to help out with that, but he's been doing it now for 10 years, almost 11, because he's 14 now, going to be soon 15. And so I'm really stoked to talk to these guys today and find out more about Project Freedom Ride and how they got this all going and all the in and outs of it. So, hey, you guys, thanks for being on the program, and I appreciate it, and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
So, just to kind of get it out there for listeners, who may be hearing about Project Freedom Ride for the first time, what's your mission, and how did you guys get this all started and everything, and helping to get animals into new homes?
So that started when I was just 4 years old. We lived in Texas. My dad was military, so he was stationed there. And we were walking out of a local PetSmart, and there was a whole bunch of dogs in crates. And so I asked why they were there. My parents had to explain to me that the shelter brings them there to try to get them homes, because if they can't find them homes, then they have to put them down and the dogs have to go to heaven. So in my tiny 4-year-old mind, the simplest thing to do was just go get them home. So we started going to the shelters, making videos with the dogs. My mom would just post them on her Facebook page. And then we moved to Washington State in 2016. Obviously, it's kind of hard to help Texas dogs when you're in Washington State. And at that time, there was a lot less dogs in Washington State, but a lot more adopters. Sorry, I got myself confused there.
Yeah.
So in December of 2016, we started Project Freedom Ride to transport dogs from Texas up to Washington State. We had our first transport of 31 dogs, and since then, we have helped over 5,500 dogs.
That's
so
awesome.
It's been quite the journey.
I gotta say, just listening to you say that in your 4-year-old brain, the thing that made the most sense was to get those dogs homes. That is just words of wisdom coming from a 4-year-old at that point. If more people thought like that, can you just imagine the turnaround we would have on what's happening with our animals going into shelters? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was only that simple.
Yeah, exactly. But, and like I said, coming from you as a 4-year-old, that's really how simple it really is and was. And you guys moved ahead and with with your mom and dad helping out and everything, and you started doing this great thing to help these animals. And that's just, not a lot of people do that. They talk a lot and think about things, but they don't actually take action a lot of times. They sit and talk more than they take action. So I think it's just awesome that you as a 4-year-old kid was like, let's do something, let's take action, let's go. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think as his mom, that's what I embraced the most, was I wanted to raise a kid that didn't see a problem and complain about it, but rather saw a problem and took action. I wanted to really rally behind that, because I think often as adults we think of all the reasons why we can't do something. it's very easy to talk yourself out of something, even if you have really good intentions or something really bothers you. I think our brains as adults are different. In a child's brain, you see the problem and you see the solution in its most simplest form, and adults tend to overcomplicate things. And so I really wanted to allow him to try and make a difference and see kind of the fruits of his labor early on, and let that be something that can like stick with him even outside of rescue. If you see something wrong or you want something, like make it happen. Don't just complain about it.
Right. And so what kind of was the first thing that went through your mind when Roman came to you and said, "Hey, Mom, we need to save these dogs, and we need to save a lot of these dogs"? I mean, it's a pretty. You guys have been doing phenomenally since you started this. So what was kind of your first thoughts with that?
It's funny because my disclaimer when people ask about Project Twin Ride is be careful what your child talks you into, because I definitely didn't anticipate this. I definitely didn't anticipate us to be going. Project Green Ride has existed for 10 years, almost. This December will be 10 years, but he has done rescue for 11 years. But in the beginning, it was pretty simple because of where we were. We didn't have the transport program for the first year. It was just a matter of just Roman kind of showcasing these dogs from a 4-year-old perspective. We did adoption events. Over time, we've kind of changed. Our perspective changes. You kind of see what works and doesn't work. We had contracted transporters that didn't work well, so we eventually brought that program in-house. None of it is economical. I joke I never wanted to be a business owner, and then I had the worst business model ever and became a nonprofit. But it's been a crazy journey. Like, it is something that has taught Roman public speaking. Roman is an only child, but incredibly social. It has taught him responsibility and companionship and empathy, like all these things that I'm super grateful for. I think if myself now could go back, 10 years and talk to who I was then, I'd be like, buckle up, because you have no idea the ride you're about to go on. But at that time, I just wanted to embrace all of it. Whatever he wanted to do, we really rallied behind that. And so we tried to approach it as simple as his mind made it. But it's definitely, over the years, it's gotten harder. I mean, as I'm sure you know, rescue and the animal welfare world in general is really hard now. So, I also think we just have always focused on, we do what we can. And that's all. We can't focus on what we aren't able to do. We just have to focus on, the 5,500 roughly we've been able to help. We just really focus on that.
Right. And that's really all you can do is focus on the ones that you can help. And, and unfortunately, you wish you could help them all and help the world, but it's just, that's not reality. So you just do what you can and help the ones you can. So, but again, and
that's exactly how he started. Was I'm going to save every dog in the world. And when he's younger, he believes that, and I wanted him to believe that. But obviously, over time, reality is different. You don't necessarily get to save every dog. So he's had to learn a lot. He's had to learn a lot of things.
Right. Exactly. So what was your very first rescue transport like? I mean, was it organized chaos, or did it go surprisingly smoothly for you guys? I mean, what was it like doing that first one?
It went really smooth, but when I tell people how it went, the method of transportation, it's kind of mind-blowing. So our first transport was from Texas to Washington State in December. I believe it was December 6th or something of 2016. And it was crazy because it was a legal licensed transporter. So in theory, everything, was legitimate or whatever. I didn't cut any corners in that regard. But it was a horse trailer that wasn't fully enclosed. So mind you, this is December, and there is air still from the outside able to get in. All the dogs were safe. They made it. Everybody was healthy. But that is not the way we transport 10 years later. Like, we do not. We have a very different setup now. But so I always look back and how we started. It's almost kind of embarrassing, but I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I was totally new to this, very, very green to rescue. It was legal, but as time has progressed, I have extremely high standards and expectations for our program.
Right. So, since we're kind of talking about transport and stuff like that, why don't you just kind of walk us through what a typical rescue transport journey actually does look like from start to finish for you guys now?
So now we live in Georgia, so we still partner with some rescues in Texas. So we actually have a transport on the road right now. We loaded dogs for this transport on Wednesday in Georgia. I believe we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we had about 8 dogs without looking at my roster from here. So how those dogs are selected they're either fostered by our program and they're going to either receiving rescues or adopters, or we work with a couple shelters in the area that send us like all their dog assessment videos, their bios, photos of the dogs, and we network those to other rescues that we work with to try and get them out of the shelter into their programs. Then we leave Georgia bound for Texas. It takes about a day and a half. While on board, the dogs are walked roughly every 6 to 8 hours. It just kind of depends if there's more puppies or, adult dogs. We load in Texas the afternoon of the next day. So for this transport, we loaded in the afternoon of Thursday, and then we head north. We basically go northwest, or we go north and then through the Midwest into the Northeast, which was this run. Our typical transports are about 5,000 miles over anywhere from 5 to 7 days. And then everybody's delivered and the van comes back home. We do that once a month now. Back like during COVID, adoptions were so high we could do that twice a month, but post-COVID, rescue looks very different. And, sorry, 1 second. Zion, please stop. Rescue looks very different, so we do it once a month for financial reasons. And we move about 20 dogs per transport. All of our dogs travel in Roughlin one-piece molded kennels that are secured to the van. We have a Mercedes Sprinter van that is specially outfitted for this, so it's double insulated, has additional like HVAC system, and then we have a generator to run a backup system. God forbid they should ever break down or anything like that. So it's a pretty well-oiled machine at this point. It's definitely a long ways from the horse trailer we used in 2016.
It sure sounds like it. Wow. So you're basically bringing dogs from Georgia and Texas, and then you're bringing them to shelters or rescues in the Northwest or the Northeastern states to get them adopted into homes?
Adopters. We actually have adopters that adopt our dogs sight unseen. So they apply for the dogs. They go through a screening process. We do virtual interviews and virtual home checks. We check their personal references and their vets. And then if approved, they pay their adoption fee, and the dog is kind of scheduled for the next transport to their area. So on this transport, we had adopters in Indiana, Ohio, actually even Ontario, Canada.
Oh, wow.
We have a couple out of New York and then Maryland, and then the van will head home. So the idea was we didn't want to limit where these dogs and their perfect family would be. We kind of broke down the barriers through transport. So that's been really rewarding because they've been able to be paired with families virtually anywhere. There are some places we don't go. We don't go to California simply because California has such a large problem on its own that we really encourage people to just look local there.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so, and we have to have a reasonable route. Like, it's still a long transport as is, but we're not looking to keep dogs on transport for 2 weeks or anything like that.
Right. Excuse me. So, how has, obviously with the transporting and stuff, you've grown quite a bit and changed things up. How did the whole actual Project Freedom Ride program grow from just helping the few dogs that you started out with into being more of a nationally recognized rescue effort? Excuse me.
It's so funny because it all happened so organically. And I think it was in 2017. I believe it was 2017. It might have actually been 2016. A video where Roman had actually visited with a dog at a humane society in Washington where we were living at the time. Roman had visited a dog and done a video about him, and that video kind of took off and went viral. And then the social media platform, the Jodo, who shares a lot of feel-good animal videos and stuff, they got in touch with Roman, and they had a number of videos they shared or created about Project Freedom Ride, and it kind of just blew up. In 2018, he was the ASPCA Kid of the Year.
Awesome.
The beginning of 2019, he was on The Ellen Show. And then again in 2022, I believe, maybe. He was on, like, her final season. He was on again. He's been on Little Big Shot. He had an episode on Animal Planet's Dodo Heroes. And then a couple years back, he had a Disney Hulu series called Roman to the Rescue, which was like a kid-friendly show about dog rescue and dogs going to families with kids. Mm-hmm. So he's been very, very blessed in the support that he's had through, like, much larger platforms than just us. So I think the fact that he was 4 initially and, like, a kid doing this really drew in attention, and then a lot of our support and following has kind of come as people watched him grow. Like, I joke he's got probably like 100,000 moms who just doesn't know it yet.
Well, what do you think about all of that, Roman, and about all of the great publicity and stuff that you've been able to get over the years from all of these organizations?
I think that stuff is just super cool. I feel like I am probably one of the luckiest kids in the world because, I mean, we don't try for any of that stuff. It just, like, kind of happens, and I really feel very lucky that all that happens, and I feel like that is just great publicity, even just for our nonprofit, and just so we can kind of continue to stay relevant.
Yep, exactly. So, well, it must have been really fun actually getting to do your own kind of series, Roman to the Rescue.
Yeah, that was super cool. That was a very, very unique experience.
Oh, I'll bet. I could just imagine doing the taping and stuff for those events. That'd be great.
It was cool. I was very lucky to get to do that.
Yeah. Not a lot of people get to say they get those kind of opportunities and help out. I mean, and even with all that being said, with all of that going on, it gave you even more opportunities to help out the animals that you've been trying to help out. So that's it's a win-win all the way around. So how did your friends feel about you doing all of this kind of stuff?
So it's not the way a lot of people would think. A lot of people tend to think it's like, oh, a lot of friends think it's super cool. But I'll be real honest, I got some pretty harsh backlash from like having my own show and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So that was not, yeah. I got bullied pretty hard for that.
Oh, that's just not right. What? I guess maybe a little jealousy or something because you got to do something so cool like that?
Probably. I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of. There's no reason really for it.
Right. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. You know, that's such a sad thing when you're doing something, you know, that like this good, you know, to help out, you know, the animals and stuff like that don't have a voice, and then because you get opportunities that you have to face that kind of backlash for that's just, you know, maybe parents need to start teaching their kids a little bit better because that's crazy. Maybe if they did, we wouldn't be in that situation. Exactly. So again, I apologize that you had to deal with that, but it sounds like you sound like a pretty strong kid. So I think you have been dealing with it well. So, and hopefully it'll stop, and you know you don't have to keep dealing with that kind of stuff, and maybe people will start to recognize some of the great stuff you're doing instead.
Yeah.
So.
We can hope.
Oh, go ahead, huh?
I said we can hope. We can hope.
Yep, you just never know. So, in Project Freedom Ride in the organization, what role do each of you guys naturally play at this point in time?
So my mom, she pretty much handles all of the technical stuff. She coordinates just about everything. Actually, everything, not just about everything. She manages all our stuff. She manages the budget. She does all the behind-the-scenes work. She does all the heavy lifting. I get to take the credit.
Hey, at least you're honest.
The videos and stuff.
At least you're being honest about it. Mom does all the work. I'm just here.
And my dad, he is one of our drivers. We have two. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on just 1 second. We have two drivers. My dad is one of them. And a family friend, she is our other driver.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works out great when you get to have, you know, family and you know, real close friends and stuff helping out. So it makes it easier.
It does. We all kind of play our little role.
Yep, sounds like it. So you guys got it worked out great. That's awesome. So have there been
some fine-tuning over the years?
Well, you know, that's with anything, though. You always have to kind of fine-tune things until you get it tweaked to where it's working just right. But unfortunately, about the time you get it tweaked to where it's working just right, something bigger changes, and you got to try to do tweaking again. So, but
yeah.
Sounds like you guys have been doing a good job.
Well, thank you.
Have there been moments when the two of you actually thought, you know, this is bigger than what we ever imagined?
Yes, every day. Every day. Probably at least once a week we talk about how we can't even imagine what our life would be like without this, just because it's been a part of it for so long, more than half my life now.
Yep, yeah, exactly. You're sure right in that one, more than half your life. You think as you grow up and get older, you're going to keep on doing this?
I don't know. It may just depend on where my life takes me, but I will probably always go to shelters and stuff as I can with time, but obviously as I'll get older, life will get busier.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see where life takes me.
Yep. So what's your ambitions in life? What do you want to do when you get done with high school? Are you going to go to college or go into some
college or trade school? I'm really not sure yet.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're still young. You got a few more years to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Just don't wait too long, because, man, I'm telling you, you got to be on top of stuff nowadays, especially with everything that's going on with AI and all the involvement of that and stuff. So.
Yeah. It does suck, though. They make you try and figure all that stuff out by, like, 7th grade, so that can steer your entire high school pathway.
Right. Yep.
So right now I'm kind of on a pathway to get, like, a whole bunch of these cyber industry certifications.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you'll be working on that stuff and the AI and the cyber stuff and everything like that.
Possibly.
That'd be cool.
Possibly. That would be.
So
find some way to tie it into the rescue.
Hey, why not? I mean, I've actually had some guests on here that have done things like that. They were involved in something before, and they were able to take their knowledge of the business that they had been in. One of the gentlemen I had on, he founded, it's called Dubert, and they actually do transporting across the United States and stuff like that. They vet. They go in and they check out and vet all of the people that are transporting, any of the people that are like, say, a stopover for overnight or something like that, where the dogs might have to stay for the next leg of the journey. And then even the rescues and stuff, they check everybody out, make sure that everybody's legit, stuff like that. But he started that because of a dog that he had, but he took his business knowledge of designing these programs and stuff like that, and he started Duber, and he started helping animals. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you just never know where things might take you, when you decide to go into those kinds of fields. So, yeah, that would be really cool. You probably will be able to bring it over into your rescue if you want to continue doing it.
Potentially. Sky's the limit with that one.
Sure is. I like the way you think, Roman. Have you guys ever had a rescue story that you've felt or thought was going to be almost impossible, but somehow it just ended up working out for you?
That's a good question. We'd have to think about that one. Impossible in what regard? Like, you didn't think we'd be able to maybe save the dog and we did? Or...
Yeah, along those lines where, you were trying to get it worked out, but maybe, you just weren't getting somebody as an adopter, or maybe it was just hard trying to something along those lines, but then you just ended up for whatever reason getting it. I mean, I've had a lot of things happen as as animal control. When I did adoptions out of the shelter, I mean, I'd have people that would be like, oh yeah, I really want this dog, I'm going to come and adopt it, and then they just maybe never show up or back out at the last minute, those kinds of things you don't really, and then you got to recover from that and try to get things worked out. And I've actually had dogs go to other states too, where I've had a friend of mine, actually a volunteer at the shelter, was going back east, and she took a dog that my aunt adopted, and then someone she knew adopted back east. So it's just different things like that, because things can always go wrong. You just never know.
Yeah, I can't think of any stories like that per se.
Well, that's good.
I can think we have had a few like survivor stories, like dogs we didn't think would be able to kind of come back to health, and they have.
Oh, well, those are
one
good.
One of them was a little puppy. Her name was Tiana. She had parvo, and she kept fluctuating in and out. Like we honestly thought we would have had to say goodbye to her probably 2 to 3 times at least. And she managed to pull through, and she was very, very happy, very healthy when she kind of fought through that. And that was amazing, because we honestly did not think she would make it.
Well, that's good. That's a good story.
She had a pretty unique backstory. So she and 6 other puppies entered the shelter at 2 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
Without a parent, without a mom. There was a nursing mom, a pit bull, at the shelter at the time. What I don't agree with is a rescue pulled her puppies from her, then put these puppies with her, and had no intention on pulling mom. Oh. And I don't operate that way. If you take the puppies, you take the mom, you take the whole program.
Right, right.
So what ended up happening was we pulled mom and puppies, but puppies broke with parvo 2 days later, and I think we lost 2 of them, and Tiana was the one that was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She wound up having parvo and coccidia.
Oh, geez.
Which was making it really hard. But when she bounced back, she was fantastic, and thanks to
a rescue that we work with in Idaho, they took her. She had to travel later than her siblings and her mom. A rescue we work with in Washington took mom and the other siblings. And so that was like a great story. I don't know that we've had a dog. We've helped dogs, but not one that we've necessarily fostered where it's been like, hey, what's taking so long for this dog to maybe get adopted? And then it all makes sense. We've helped other rescues who have had dogs sit for a long time, and then we transport that dog to the adopter, but we're not necessarily, we haven't been lucky or unlucky enough yet to do that. We have a dog. Our longest foster right now has been with us since September. So she's been with us for like 9 months and has had 0 applications.
Wow.
So we hope, obviously, for her sake and ours and everybody else's, that it will all make sense whenever her family, comes around. Then we'll understand why it took so long.
Yep. Because you know what? There's going to be somebody out there for her. There's just a reason why she still hasn't found them.
That's kind of what it helps us deal with ones that stay with us longer, is that it will all make sense. When the adoption happens, it'll be like this huge light bulb moment when it's like, okay, she waited for this reason.
Yep.
It's hard sometimes, as you watch the months go past, you're like, dang. Especially like this dog, her name is Josie. She's a fantastic dog, but she does need to be an only dog.
Yeah.
So,
that's what's making it difficult.
We understand takes longer.
Yeah.
But like, this is a dog that would thrive in any environment, an apartment, a house. Like, she's not very demanding. She's great on a leash. She's housebroken. All the other boxes she checked. But she's a black, 35-pound female pitty mix who needs to be by herself. So, she has a lot kind of stacked against her. But I think whenever the adoption happens, we'll understand why at that time.
Yep, because it's going to be someone that loves that breed and is looking for a dog exactly like her. And that's when it's gonna happen, because like you said, she's got things stacked against her. Unfortunately, she's a black pitty mix and it has to be an only dog. So unfortunately, I know, believe me, I know. I've like I told you guys, I've had to switch dogs around in my own household because they didn't get along. So, unless you're dedicated to doing things, if something happens, so a lot of people aren't. And unfortunately...
Well, and we tried. In the beginning, she was better, but we learned, like, her quirks. Like, if you were giving her affection, she didn't want you to give another dog affection. And so there have been no fights, per se, but we joke she has nasty arguments. Like, there's a lot of teeth, a lot of yelping, a lot of theatrics. No actual attacking, per se, but most people aren't going to want to deal with that, right? And so it's just easier to say she needs to just be by herself.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so, it's just resource guarding people, and that's,
Yeah, I mean, or her food. The other things are easier to control, like her food, her bone, her toys, but
those are really easy.
You don't want to have 2 dogs that they can't sit on the couch with at the same time.
Right, and that's what I had. That one of mine that's what the deal was with her. She resource guarded me. So she went after, she didn't care, about food and stuff like that. It was me. She went after, you couldn't even have another dog close to me and she would go after him. So. Yeah. So I know how that goes, believe me. So, well, I wish you guys luck with her, and hopefully her family comes along soon and finds their lucky dog. So.
Yeah, us too.
So, Raymond, I kind of heard how your mom describes how this type of work has kind of been shaping you as a young person. But in your words, how do you kind of feel doing all this stuff is kind of helping shape you as a person?
It's let me feel very confident with myself, like kind of know what I did. Like, I helped save this life. Other people might not view it that way. Other people might think, oh, whatever they think. I can't think of an example right now. But it lets me feel comfortable doing what is right. Like, even if a lot of other people
say it's wrong and don't do anything. It lets me kind of do what I feel is right. It lets me kind of make my own path, so to speak.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what it's doing. You're making your own path. So that's awesome too. So, well, obviously this has changed your guys' family life as well. So, but you guys have been able to adapt, it sounds like, because I mean, obviously, Dad is driving, and then you guys are kind of handling the adoption and the face of the Project Freedom Ride stuff on your end. So, I mean, has doing this kind of stuff, I mean, because I know with your dad being military, you guys probably moved a little bit too, but has doing this really changed your family life a lot?
Yes, Roman probably doesn't know much different since this has been going on so long. Yeah.
That's true.
But as the adult, definitely. It has definitely changed. Like, you can't just go on vacation. You can't just be gone all day. Like, I think people understand, like, there's sacrifices when you're in rescue, or, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be dogs, but outside of, like, you know, the fact that my husband, Roman's dad, is retired from the military now, but it's essentially he is still gone 1 week per month, so that's 12 weeks a year right now. It used to be, you know, 2 weeks per month, so it's still very similar to military life in that regard, like, still gone. And there's a lot of sacrifices, I think, that are made because this isn't, I guess, normal, right? This isn't the run-of-the-mill. So, like, Roman doesn't particularly have many friends that would be comfortable, like, coming over to our house because of the dogs. He's had some, which are great, and they could care less, but it's definitely been, it changes everything about your life, and you just have to weigh whether or not the sacrifices are worth it.
Right. You know, and that's just it. I mean, it is quite a bit to juggle when you're doing this kind of stuff, and a lot of people don't realize it unless they are doing something similar. But it's a lot of work. Right. I mean, you know, I stay in contact with, you know, I have a lot of rescue friends and stuff like that, and believe me, you know, obviously just the shelter aspect on the side that I did it on, I know what kind of work that was, and I was just talking to someone the other day. I'm like, you know, I'd go to work 8 hours a day, and I would come home and probably work 4 hours after work every day,
right,
because
right.
I was one of those ones. I had turned the shelter from being high kill to basically, well, very low kill. Let's put it that way. You can't really claim no kill.
Right.
But a very low kill, and I was spending several hours every day. I'd be photographing dogs and then putting them up on Pet Finder and Facebook and stuff to try to get them adopted. So, you know.
Yeah, I think people think it's like, oh, you play with dogs, but, like, there's a lot of back-end work, like you described. Like, for us, for example, Pet Finder is a fantastic platform, but it's not the most, like, user-friendly. Like, we have to post it in every single location that we go. So,
wow.
We don't get to post a dog once. We have to post a dog 30 times.
Wow.
So, it's a lot, and you have to keep the dog alive. You know, this is the era of social media, so you've got to keep that dog alive on your social media, which is at least you've got to be posting a couple times a day. You know, there's a lot that I think people don't see in rescue that makes rescue work, you know? Right.
That's what makes me kind of upset when you see these keyboard warriors or armchair warriors or whatever you prefer to call them, that sit back and want to sit there and put people down and put shelter workers down and rescues down, and they get upset because, you know, a rescue might say no, they can't take an animal, because they don't understand that they're full and that, you know, it's work trying to help all these animals, and it's so tiring. There's so many rescue workers out there, and I'm sure you guys are just as tired because you're doing it. There's so many of you guys out there that are just tired because there's so much going on that you're trying to do.
I agree. The keyboard, it's kind of funny because on our social media, I think because it started so young for Roman, whenever we get those, it's kind of Roman's 100,000 moms nip them in the butt. Like, I usually let the comments stay because the supporters handle it for us.
Yeah.
Which is really great. But I've also operated Project Freedom Ride extremely transparent. I share our financials every quarter. I also post. I mean, we are not no-kill. We absolutely are not. We have had to put down medical cases, but a couple years ago we had to put down a foster that had been in our home for a year because she was constantly attacking our resident dog, and there was no rhyme or reason. We couldn't figure out the source. It wasn't necessarily like resource guarding or anything like that. And at that point, like when she would attack, we could not break her off. Like we essentially would have to like choke her out until she stopped. And so at that point I wasn't safe, and I remember thinking, you know, if I post this, I'm definitely going to get backlash. Like, I was prepared for that. But until somebody is willing to take the dog that, you know, that they're wanting you to take responsibility for, like, they don't have space in my world, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, I can't assume responsibility for things if I'm uncomfortable with it. I have to be very mindful of liability. I have to be very mindful of, you know, our resident dogs. I have to be very mindful of if there's a child ever involved. And I think keyboard warriors like to just have this tunnel vision, but they're not stepping up to do anything. They're just flooding social media with their feelings.
Right. And honestly, I mean, because I do dog training now, I do dog training for regular, I do basic, and then I also do for service and therapy dog training. And I'm going to be honest with you, you know, as a dog trainer and working under the dog trainers I've worked under, there's this, I'm trying to think of the name, I think it's called idiosyncratic, it's idio something. Anyway, it's just a behavior in the dog. And when I did animal control, I used to call them like Jekyll Hyde dogs because they would just attack for no reason and then they'd be fine. Yeah. And you could never figure out why. And this one family called me one time to come get their dog because they were like, we don't even know. We were petting her and she all of a sudden jumped up and tried to rip our faces off. So, you know, you just never know. And unfortunately, when it's something along those lines, there's really nothing that can be done with those dogs. There's no like behavior adjustment you can do. I mean, and literally because of what's affecting them, in a lot of these cases, it's actually more humane to euthanize that animal because of what they're actually going through in their brain. So, you know.
And I'm definitely not an advocate, like, to be transparent, I don't advocate for no-kill, because I think the no-kill movement can create irresponsibility. Like,
oh, yes.
I'm not a proponent for just kenneling for life. I'm not a proponent for irresponsible placement of dogs in homes. I'm just not. And it's crazy to me how many people think euthanasia is the worst thing. And I'm like, it's not. It is. Like, is it sad? Yes. If you're having to euthanize just your general population because of numbers, it's horribly sad. But the alternative of leaving these dogs to run amok or get hit by a car or get in dog fights or die of disease, that is not a better opportunity for them. Like, that is a slow, miserable, painful death, or, you know, dogs who are mentally unsound. I just wish we could get past that and understand that, like, euthanasia is not the most inhumane thing we can do.
Right, right. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I kind of wanted to say that, you know, part about there are certain things you just can't. And I'm sorry, for me, I love old dogs to death. I mean, like I said, I just lost my girl. She was 16, 17 years old. And I love my old dog to death. But I'm sorry, when some of these people, I don't understand shelters in this day and age when you get an old dog in that a family has brought in and requested to have euthanized because maybe that family has been noticing the downturn in the dog. Maybe they've been under vet's care, but that their vet, has gotten to that point. There's nothing they can really do much more. Whatever the case may be, if a family had to make a very difficult decision of bringing their dog in to be euthanized, why are you sitting there trying to talk that family out of euthanizing that dog and telling them you're going to give it vet care and you're going to adopt it into another home? Especially if that dog is, like 13 years old or 14 years old. Like I said, I love seniors to death too, but if this family has agonized over this and then finally done this, made this decision, you should respect that family, number one. I understand if it's a young dog and there's things that can be done. But if this is a senior dog that has lived its life, why are you doing this? And now you're taking up a home where a younger dog possibly could go and instead is now going to be euthanized.
Right. And I definitely think that's like double-edged in the rescue and shelter world, because I also would have, like in that scenario, I would have issues with the family bringing the dog to a shelter to be put down. Like, it's your responsibility. It should not be the shelter's responsibility. If it is indeed what would be best for your dog, you should be there with your dog and see that through.
Right.
And a lot of times when you...
And it depends on the shelter. So some shelters will allow families to stay with their dog when they euthanize it. At least you can at least be there through the sedation shot. It depends on how they're euthanizing. If they're doing it like the vet, most shelters are actually okay with having use. But if you're doing it the old archaic way, which I don't know how many shelters are still doing it that way with the heart sticking one, but you don't want.
We have a shelter in Georgia that's receiving a lot of heat because their vet is still doing that, and it's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah, so it just depends. Some of the shelters out here, I don't know if any of the shelters out here are still doing it. I'm assuming they are, but that's what I mean. So, I mean, it's just a service that some of the shelters offers because some people can't afford to literally go pay $200-$300.
If the family can be with the dog, 100%. But I do struggle. If you cared for this dog for 13 years, you need to be there at the end.
Yeah, and I am. I've been there with mine. But I can kind of understand why some may not allow that family. Like I said, they do allow them to stay there through the sedation when they're actually going into that sleep before the last shot. But a lot of them actually have, since they have been doing it differently, I think a lot of the shelters are starting to allow the families to stay there, if they wish to. What gets me is the family that just wants to come in and drop their dog off and doesn't care. They're not even going to stay to do any of it. They're just going to go.
Correct.
But those ones bother me. But and then sometimes, I hate to say this, but sometimes people are so attached to the animals, they wait way longer than they should. And this dog
I agree.
is in misery,
That's one of my big things is, like, any of our personal dogs or dogs in rescue, my goal is always to let them go with dignity. Like, I'm not, it's not about me at that point. It's like, if I'm holding on because it's what I want, like, and you're suffering, that just doesn't seem fair. So, all of our dogs, as it comes time for them to pass, like, we don't let it get so bad that, it's this, like, crazy urgent decision. We try to, once we see them start to go and we know that, the end is inevitable, we don't wait until the very last minute.
Right. And that was, when my girl I just had to euthanize on Monday, she, like I said, 16, 17, and the vet and I kind of thought because she couldn't get up and down off the couch by herself anymore because of her arthritis, so I would help her up and down.
Right.
So anyway, when I got her down, I kind of noticed that she was listing to the right and wasn't really putting any weight. She couldn't hold anything up on the right side. And I was kind of thinking at that point a stroke. And then when I got her into the vet a couple hours, later, to have her looked at, that's kind of what the vet thought too. So at that point, it's like, well, what do I do? Do I try to wait to see if she gets better? Do I, hope she doesn't have a stroke the next time I'm not home, or even worse, maybe a heart attack, something that's going to put her in a bunch of pain when I'm going to be gone at work for hours. So, and it's that thing, what quality of life, does she actually have? So, you got to make those choices sometimes, unfortunately. I know you guys just had to do that too with one of your fosters, but, you got to really think about them and their quality of life, no matter how hard it is on you. So Roman, you've You've actually, Roman, inspired a whole lot of young people. What do you say to the kids who may want to, try to help animals but aren't really sure where to start?
Just go to your local shelter, see if there's any dogs you can visit, see if there's any old toys you can donate to the shelter, and maybe if you can't really adopt yet, but you still want to help a shelter or a local rescue or something, maybe see if you can foster a dog.
Exactly. So what?
Just always go, just try, see what you can do if you want to help. Just kind of test the waters a little bit. Obviously, it doesn't have to be like what we do, but there's always other things you can do to help them.
Right. There's a lot of different things that kids could do. I mean, they could hold different little events or something at school. Ask the school to do, like, say, a bake sale or anything, a car wash or anything to help their local shelter and raise some money or their local rescues. So there's a lot of stuff that kids could do if they put their minds to it.
Absolutely. Like for my 4th birthday, I asked for, instead of presents, I asked for donations for the local shelter in Texas.
Yep. We've had a few kids do that here in Arizona for some of the shelters too. So, and then they started reading programs out here. So now kids are going into the shelters and sitting down and reading to the dogs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There was something like that at the Humane Society we would go to in Washington.
Yeah, it's been catching on. There's been quite a few out here that have started doing that, so that's pretty cool.
It is.
So did you guys ever have a rescue dog that became part of your own family?
Oh my goodness, about 4 times over.
Kind of like me, huh?
Probably.
Having 7 dogs.
Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah?
5? Yeah. Zion. 6. My bad. 6.
So you guys have kept 6 of them over the years.
We have. But a lot of them are very old dogs now.
Right.
One of them is 15. One of them is 14. One of them is 13. One of them, we have no idea how old he is, but he's pretty old.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 years.
Wow. Yeah, they're getting up there, but I'm sure you guys are taking really good care of them.
We are. We say as they get older, they don't show their age, they just get weirder.
Yeah. That's true. And I think they train us to do things for them. I'm telling you, my old girl, she had me trained. If she wanted up on the couch, she would literally just come over to the couch and look at the couch and then look at me like, you going to help me up here anytime soon? So
Absolutely. They get you worked around their fingers so quick.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, it's treat time? Oh, that's right. I better get up now and go get you your treat before you start having a fit.
That's right. We have this little foster dog right now. To the life of me, I can't remember what kind of dog she is. But she's like 7, I think. My mom absolutely adores her. She absolutely adores my mom. And she has my mom wrapped around her little finger. Anytime she just looks at my mom a little bit, my mom will just walk over and pick her up. It is super sweet.
Yeah, sometimes they can be like that. They just love you and you can't help but love them back.
Mm-hmm.
So what goals do you guys have for Project Freedom Right over the next few years to come? Are you guys going to try to expand it all or partner up with anybody
Probably
else?
Not expand. Right now, we just have to kind of just take on what we can. And just really all our goal is just to give whatever dogs we pull in the best chance we can. Obviously, we've come to learn over the last several years we can't save them all.
Right.
But we can give the ones we do save their best chance. And that's all we can ever do.
Yep.
Hang on just 1 second.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
All right, no problem. So Okay, so how can the people out there listening today support your mission even if they can't adopt or foster right now? What can they do to help you guys out?
They can donate. If they live in our local area, they could possibly volunteer. In truth, the biggest help to us would be if they spayed and neutered their dogs. If they already had dogs, spay and neuter them. That helps us, so then down the road we won't have a big overpopulation problem with dogs. Or if you want to help us directly now, donating is a really good option. We offer a free spay and neuter program to help kind of dogs in our own area.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if people want, they can go to, say, your website or whatever, or Facebook page, and then they can donate?
Facebook page, yeah. I think I think there's a way you can donate to our Facebook page. I know I think our PayPal, our Cash App maybe is on there. I don't know if we have Cash App, actually. Scratch that. But there are ways to donate on our Facebook page. I do know that. My mom is normally who handles that.
Yeah. So do you guys only have a Facebook page, or do you actually have a website and stuff too?
We do have a website. I think mostly everything, though, is on our Facebook page. I don't think we really use our website as much.
Okay.
It's just easier to kind of get people's attention through social media.
Okay, so perfect.
And all the information people would need is on our Facebook page as well.
Okay, so they can just go to your Facebook page, and then they can learn more about Project Freedom Ride and what you guys are doing, and they can donate to you off of there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Everything they would need should be on there. Like, you could go look at the dogs that we have on there as well. You get all our pet finder links there. Kind of a one-stop shop.
Cool. So do you guys have any upcoming projects, partnerships, or rescues or initiatives or anything like that you are excited about having happen?
We are. We are going to the Augusta Pride Festival here. We'll be doing a raffle giveaway for a bench, like a custom painted chair. I think that's the only one I can think of in the near future.
Cool. Do you guys post that out on your Facebook page too? That you guys are going to be there?
We do.
Awesome.
That is, yeah.
Awesome.
That is an event we look forward to. We went to that for the first time last year, and it was a great event. We got a ton of donations, and everybody there was super nice.
So if anybody, say, in your area would like to help you guys out, say, with the dogs, is there any way they can do that? Do you guys have any volunteers that help you guys out at all?
We do. We actually have several volunteers that kind of work with us. Some of them foster as well. All they have to do is just reach out. I'm pretty sure there's a contract they would have to sign and an application process for that.
Right.
Or obviously they could donate, spay and neuter their own dogs. Same things would still apply. Their dogs would have to be spayed and neutered though if they wanted to foster or something.
Right. But that's great that you guys are taking volunteers and stuff. So yeah, so if you guys are in the Georgia area there where Roman and Jen and them are at, Project Freedom Ride, go to their Facebook page, check it out, and contact them if you're interested in helping them out. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. So
yeah.
So last but not least, can you think of a rewarding moment that you've kind of had doing this? I mean, something that really stands out for you?
Let me think of a good one. We've had several over the years. Oh, boy. Let me think. There's a lot to pick from. We had one dog. This was quite a few years ago. It was on actually the Animal Planet Dodo Heroes episode. The dog's name was Noah. It took him quite a while to find a potential family, and he could not have gone to a better family. He is going hiking all the time. You get to see videos of him like playing in the snow and stuff. He is spoiled rotten, to say the least.
You know, those are the most rewarding moments that you can have when you do this kind of work. When you know that
it is.
Yep, when you know you've gotten a dog into a good home.
Yeah, it's what makes it feel like you've done something good. It's what completes the cycle.
Yep, it really does. It's a very rewarding time when you know you've done something good for that animal and you've placed them and they've got a good home and they're going to be loved and they're going to love the people they're with. So I know. Yeah. I've been there and done that. So, well,
you might know a thing or two then.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, after all the years that I did the shelter work and stuff, you get to learn a whole lot of stuff. Sometimes it's not good what you learn, but yeah. But you do have, I mean, good. It makes sometimes, you know, like you said there with that dog there and finding a good home. Those are the times that make it worth it for all the other times that aren't quite as good. So. Yeah. So it works out.
Well, lets you know you did right.
Exactly, Roman. Well, hey, you know, we're kind of at the end of the podcast, and I am so happy that I got to have you and your mom come on and talk with me today and talk about Project Freedom Ride and learn more about you and your project there. I think you guys are doing an awesome job, and I hope you get to continue doing it for the years to come. And again, don't let those bullies bother you, because you got a lot going for you, and you know, jealousy is horrible when people have it, and it makes them be stupid and things like that. So I think you're a great kid, and I think you are making a difference in it. Maybe not the entire world, but at least your little corner of it, you are making a huge difference, especially for a lot of animals that don't have any voice. So kudos to you and everything you and your family are doing.
Thank you.
And with that being said, again, I appreciate you guys being on the podcast tonight. I'm just going to announce my next couple podcasts coming up. You guys are welcome to stay on if you'd like until the end, but you are more than welcome to jump off at this point, because I know you guys probably have things you need to go take care of since you're busy with your rescue all the time. So, again, though, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Roman, I really love talking with you tonight. You're a good kid.
It was great talking to you, too. Thank you for having us.
Yep. All right. You guys have a good night.
You do. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So, what a great kid. Oh, my gosh. I just enjoyed really doing this podcast with these guys. Him and Roman and his mom are just some really excellent people that are doing some excellent work out there. So if you guys can help them out, donating to them or whatever, you know, off of their Facebook page, or you know, or if you're in the area, if you can help them out with things, you know, donations, or maybe helping them take care of the dogs, things along those lines, arranging transports, you know, whatever, fostering. They, I'm sure, need fosters. So get a hold of them and help them out, because Project Freedom Ride is well worth the effort. So with that being said, the next couple podcasts that I'm going to have coming up, if you guys are interested, which I hope you are, is going to be June 25th. I'm going to be talking with Monica Whelan Shields, and we're going to be talking about orcas. And the podcast is the Orca Behavior Files. Because I don't know if you guys have been following the news, but these orcas have been acting crazy out there, I guess, lately. Well, something's setting them off. I shouldn't say they're crazy, but something seems to be setting them off, and they've been attacking ships and stuff like that now, and a lot more than they ever have, and in different places than they have. So hopefully, maybe Monica can shed a little light on that, and as well as give us more information about orcas. I think it's going to be great to talk with her and learn more about those whales. They're some really cool whales, and I'm going to be glad to hear more about how they live and their diet and what their research and stuff has come up with about the orcas, because she's been researching them now for quite a long time. So we're going to get quite a bit of insight into them with Monica. I can't wait for that one. And then the one after that is going to be July 9th, and I am going to have Rebecca Manelga on with me, and we're going to talk about guide dog puppies, because you see, Rebecca is a foster home for puppies that grow up to become guide dogs for the blind. So she is going to be on the podcast on July 9th to give me more information on what it's like to be a guide dog puppy foster and what she does in helping to raise these puppies that then go on to be guide dogs for people that are blind and need them. So I'm looking forward to talking to Rebecca about that. I think it's going to be a great podcast, learning more about all of that and what she does. So don't forget to come on back June 25th to hear more about Orcas from Monica. And then on July 9th to hear more about the guide dog puppies from Rebecca. I'm looking forward to talking with both of those ladies. So, and I do hope you guys enjoyed the podcast tonight. I hope you learned a lot more about Project Freedom Ride, and I hope that some of you guys are going to go out there and help those guys out and support their mission. And give Roman some kudos for doing all the great work that he's doing. So, and with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoy a good rest of your weekend. And don't get into any trouble out there. And come on back in a couple weeks. All right. Bye now.